Automaker General Motors is recalling nearly 500,000 vehicles over faulty low brake fluid warnings. Scott Peterson is tracking the story for us. So Scott, you've been working the phones. What do we know about how many Canadian models might be affected?
Yeah, it's always in the ballpark of about 10%, Natasha. So it's 450,000 vehicles North American-wide, nationwide, and that works out to 38,382 in Canadian models, and that's coming to me directly from General Motors Canada, and it has to do with...
General Motors has just announced it's recalling nearly 780,000 compact cars in North America because the engines can shut down unexpectedly and cause crashes. Chevy Cobalts and Pontiac G5s from 2005 through 2007 are being recalled. GM says 6 people have been killed in crashes related to the problem. Stocks open lower here on Wall Street. That's partially due to a new government report that shows the number of people claiming unemployment benefits.
$70,000 trucks breaking down at 500 miles. Consumer Reports disaster. That sounds like clickbait until you realize owners are saying it is happening in real driveways, to real trucks, with real payments still coming every month. Imagine buying a brand new Ram 1500, a truck that can cost as much as a small house down payment. You drive it home, show it off, park it in the driveway, and a few mornings later, it will not start. Not after 150,000 miles. Not after years of abuse. We are talking about trucks with less than 1,000 miles. Some barely pass the first tank of gas. And Ram is not the only one. Ford, Toyota, GMC, Chevy, Rivian, and even 6-figure electric trucks are showing problems that should never happen this early. Dead batteries, engines failing, screens freezing, trucks sitting at dealerships while owners keep paying. But here is the part nobody wants to say out loud. Some of these failures are not random. They may be warning signs of a much bigger problem hiding under the hood. So what is really happening to America's brand new trucks? And why are buyers finding out only after they already signed the loan? Trucks used to mean something in America. They meant strength, durability, and peace of mind. You bought a truck because you needed something that could work, tow, haul, and survive years of abuse without leaving you stranded. That was the deal. You paid more, but you got more. But that deal is starting to break. Today's trucks are no longer simple machines built around an engine, a transmission, a frame, and a bed. They are rolling computers with turbochargers, hybrid batteries, electric motors, touchscreens, camera systems, control modules, wireless updates, and software that can decide whether your truck starts in the morning or sits dead in your driveway. And that is where the trouble begins. Consumer Reports looked at reliability data from hundreds of thousands of vehicles, and the message is hard to ignore. Some of the most popular, most expensive trucks in America are no longer looking tough. They are looking fragile. Not after 200,000 miles. Not after a decade of hard use. Some are showing serious problems while the new car smell is still inside the cabin. That is the part that should make every buyer stop. Because these are not bargain bin vehicles. These are not old beaters from the back row of a used car lot. These are brand new trucks with window stickers that can climb past $70,000, $80,000, even $100,000. They come with heated seats, massive screens, premium sound systems, leather interiors, off-road packages, towing packages, and names that used to mean dependability. But a big price tag does not mean the truck will stay out of the shop. Owners are reporting dead batteries, frozen screens, bad cameras, transmission problems, electrical failures, engine trouble, water leaks, and trucks sitting at dealerships for weeks while nobody seems to have a clear answer. And while the truck sits there, the payment does not stop. The insurance does not stop. The loan does not pause just because the truck is waiting for parts. That is the hidden cost nobody talks about when you are signing the paperwork. A warranty sounds comforting until you actually need it. A warranty might cover the repair, but it does not give back your lost time. It does not erase the tow truck bill, the missed work, the stress, or the feeling of staring at a brand new truck you can no longer trust. This is not about one bad brand or one unlucky owner. It is a pattern across gas trucks, hybrid trucks, electric trucks, midsize pickups, luxury trims, and off-road models. The badge on the grille changes, but the story keeps ending the same way. A huge payment, a disappointed owner, and a truck that cost far too much to fail this soon. Let's start with the trucks that do not look like disasters. That is what makes them dangerous. They are not exploding on the side of the road every day. They are not failing in one dramatic way. They are doing something quieter. They are wearing buyers down one problem at a time. The Ford Ranger is a perfect example. For a while, it looked like one of the safer midsize choices. It had the Ford badge, a strong name, and enough capability to make people think they were buying a smaller truck without the full-size headache. Then the reliability picture started changing. Owners began talking about cabin rattles, squeaks, loose trim, and build quality that felt different from truck to truck. One Ranger feels solid. Another sounds like a toolbox rolling down a staircase every time it hits pavement. Then come the little electronic problems. Backup cameras going dark, infotainment glitches, recalls tied to the tailgate latch and screen systems. Nothing sounds catastrophic by itself, but that is how regret starts. Not with one giant failure. With 100 small reminders that your brand new truck does not feel brand new. And then there is the 10-speed transmission. Most of the time, it behaves. Then suddenly, it starts hunting for gears like it forgot what job it came to do. Add real-world fuel economy that does not feel much better than a full-size truck. And the Ranger starts looking less like a smart compromise and more like an expensive maybe. Now look at the Jeep Gladiator. This truck sells a dream. Open sky, removable roof, muddy trails, adventure, freedom. It looks like something built for people who do not want a boring driveway. But the payment is not a dream. The repairs are not a dream. The wind noise above highway speed is not a dream. Owners report electrical gremlins that come and go without warning. Dashboard lights appear for no reason. Bluetooth disconnects. Screens freeze. The cabin can sound like a wind tunnel. And on higher trims, the price can push so high that you start asking an uncomfortable question. Why am I paying full-size luxury truck money for a mid-size truck that feels unfinished? Then there is the Hyundai Santa Cruz, the truck that is not really a truck, but still gets sold like one. The base engine feels weak. The turbo version brings more power, but also a jerky dual-clutch transmission that can hesitate and shudder in traffic. The bed is small. The interior feels cheap. Before you let a dealer tell you new means safe, download my free ebook, Avoid These 17 Cars, in 2026. Because some mistakes look harmless on the lot, then follow you for years. Now let's talk about the trucks that were supposed to change everything. Electric pickups were sold as the future. Fewer moving parts, instant power, lower maintenance, huge screens, smart software, backup power for your house. The promise was simple. Buy the future now and leave the old problems behind. But for some owners, the future is already sitting on a flatbed. Start with the GMC Hummer EV pickup. This thing is not just a truck. It is a rolling statement. Over 9,000 pounds, six-figure pricing, up to 1,000 horsepower. A vehicle so massive and dramatic that it looks less like transportation and more like something built for a movie scene. But behind all that power is a problem buyers did not expect. The electric motors may be strong, but everything around them is where the nightmare starts. Owners have reported frozen touchscreens, camera failures, software glitches, charging problems, and roof panels that leak when it rains. Think about that. A truck that can cost more than $100,000 still has owners dealing with water dripping into the cabin. That is not futuristic. That is embarrassing. And then there is the range. On paper, the Hummer EV looks impressive. In real life, especially when towing, that range can drop fast. Suddenly, the truck that was supposed to feel unstoppable starts making you plan every mile, every charger, every stop. Add tires wearing out quickly because the truck weighs as much as a small building, and the cost of ownership starts getting ugly fast. Then comes the Ford F-150 Lightning. This one should have been the safe choice. It carried the F-150 name, the most trusted truck name in America. People bought it thinking they were getting normal F-Series toughness, with electric power added on top. But early owners are reporting problems that make that promise feel shaky. Battery range loss, charging failures, software updates that fix one issue and create another, charging port doors, freezing shut in cold weather, frunk drains clogging until water pools where it should not, and some dealers are still not fully ready to diagnose these trucks quickly when something goes wrong. That is a serious problem because many buyers did not buy the Lightning just to drive around town. They bought it as a tool, a work truck, a mobile power station, a backup plan when the lights go out. But if the backup power does not work, if the charging fails, if the truck sits at the dealer while everyone tries to figure out the software, then what exactly did the buyer pay for? Electric trucks may still be the future, but right now, some owners are paying full price to become unpaid test drivers today. Now we get to the problem hiding in plain sight. GM's full-size trucks are not rare experiments. They are everywhere. The Chevrolet Silverado and GMC Sierra sit in driveways, job sites, farms, and business fleets across America. These are the trucks people buy because they believe they are safe choices. Big names, big capability, big payments. But right now, some owners are learning that a familiar badge does not protect you from a very expensive failure. Start with the GMC Sierra 1500. On the surface, it looks like the premium truck. More polish, nicer materials, better trim packages, more luxury touches. GMC wants buyers to feel like they are stepping above the regular pickup crowd. But underneath, the Sierra shares many of the same mechanical problems as the Chevrolet Silverado. That means buyers are paying thousands more for nicer leather wrapped around the same headaches. The biggest concern is the 6.2-liter V8. Owners have reported serious engine failures, and the problem has drawn federal attention after recall repairs did not fully calm fears. Imagine buying a Sierra Denali, spending close to luxury car money, and then watching the engine fail while the truck is still young. The dealer may talk about warranty coverage, GM may eventually step in. But none of that changes the reality. You still lost the truck, you still lost time, and the payment kept coming. Then there is the 3.0-liter Duramax diesel, which has had thrust bearing concerns that can lead to major engine damage. Add electrical glitches, random dashboard warnings, USB ports dying, trailer brake errors, and a 10-speed automatic that sometimes feels confused, and the premium image starts cracking fast. The MultiPro tailgate is a perfect symbol of the whole problem. It looks impressive in commercials. It makes the truck feel advanced. But when the power release fails and the tailgate gets stuck open or closed, that fancy feature becomes one more thing to fix. Now look at the Chevrolet Silverado 1500. This is America's second best-selling truck, which makes the problem even bigger. We are not talking about a small group of niche buyers. We are talking about families, contractors, and loyal Chevy owners who trusted the name. The Silverado has faced complaints around the 6.2-liter V8, including crankshaft and connecting rod failures. The 5.3-liter V8 has been tied to lifter issues that can start as a ticking sound and grow into an expensive repair. The diesel has its own bearing concerns. Then come the transmission complaints and electrical problems. When the engine is the weak point, everything else stops mattering. The screen, leather, towing numbers, badge, none of it saves a truck that cannot survive its own long loan. This is the section that hurts, because for decades, Toyota meant one thing to truck buyers: trust. You bought a Toyota because you wanted the opposite of drama. Maybe it was not the flashiest truck. Maybe the interior felt old. Maybe the towing numbers did not win every brochure battle. But people did not care, because Toyota had built something more valuable than hype. It had built confidence. The old Tundra with the 5.7-liter V8 became famous for that reason. It was not complicated. It was not trying to be a spaceship. It was a truck that started, worked, and kept going. Owners kept them for years because the math made sense. Pay more upfront, avoid the nightmare later. Then, the new Tundra arrived, and the story changed. Toyota replaced the old V8 with a twin-turbo V6, and suddenly the safest name in the room did not feel so safe anymore. Consumer Reports ranked the newer Tundra near the bottom of the full-size truck reliability list, and that alone should make buyers pause. But the real problem is much bigger than a low score. The 3.4-liter twin-turbo V6 has been tied to catastrophic engine failure concerns caused by machining debris left during manufacturing. That sounds small until you understand what it can do. Tiny debris inside an engine can destroy bearings, cause knocking, rough running, stalling, or total power loss. This is not a squeaky door handle. This is the heart of the truck failing. Toyota recalled more than 127,000 vehicles, and some owners were told entire engines needed replacement. Imagine buying a brand new Tundra, making an $850 payment every month, and then watching it sit at a dealership for months waiting for an engine. The warranty may cover the repair, but it does not cover the frustration of paying for a truck you cannot drive. And the hybrid iForce Max version does not fully escape the conversation. It may avoid the same engine recall issue, but owners have reported battery concerns, shifting problems, and software fixes that do not exactly inspire confidence. Add infotainment glitches, rattles, squeaks, and cheaper-feeling materials, and the new Tundra starts feeling like a truck built under pressure. This is the danger of reputation lag. The old Tundra earned the trust. The new Tundra is spending it, and buyers are the ones left finding out the hard way. That is why brand loyalty can become expensive when people stop checking what changed underneath the hood before signing. The Toyota badge still matters, but it is not magic anymore today. A reliable brand can still build an unreliable truck, and an old reputation does not make a new engine safe. Now we need to talk about two trucks that fail for different reasons, but share the same warning sign. Complexity. One is a high-tech electric adventure truck from a newer company. The other is a hybrid version of the most famous pickup name in America. Both promised smarter engineering. Both made buyers believe they were getting the next step forward. And both show what happens when more technology creates more ways to leave you stranded. Start with the Rivian R1T. On paper, it looks incredible. Clean design, fast acceleration, clever storage, off-road confidence, and that outdoor lifestyle image that makes every driveway feel like the start of an expedition. Rivian did not just sell a truck, it sold a future. But for too many owners, that future came with service appointments. Consumer Reports named Rivian one of the least reliable brands, and the R1T has struggled across multiple model years. The problems are not just one loose part or one bad screen. Owners have reported paint defects, window failures, door alignment issues, leaking seals, water intrusion, seat control problems, locking issues, stuck gear tunnels, suspension concerns, and buggy software. That is not one bad day at the factory. That is a pattern. And when software goes wrong in a vehicle like this, it does not feel small. Screens freeze. Updates fail. Systems stop responding. Suddenly, the truck that was supposed to feel advanced starts acting like a phone that needs a reset. except this phone weighs thousands of pounds and costs more than many people make in a year. Then, there is the Ford F-150 Hybrid, the Power Boost. This one is even more surprising because the regular F-150 is supposed to be the safe bet. Ford took that trusted formula and added a hybrid system, promising better fuel economy, more power, and Pro Power onboard for tools, camping, and emergencies. It sounds perfect, until the added complexity becomes the problem. Owners have reported hybrid battery issues, strange brake feel, transmission hesitation, lurching between gas and electric power, false warning codes, control module failures, and 12-volt battery problems. Pro Power Onboard sounds amazing when it works, but when it throws errors and refuses to power tools, the feature that sold the truck becomes the feature that embarrasses it. And the fuel economy? Many owners say it does not feel impressive enough to justify the headaches. That is the trap. Buyers thought they were paying extra for smarter technology. Instead, some ended up paying extra for more things to break. Complexity is not automatically bad, but unproven complexity attached to a 6 or 7 year loan can turn a smart upgrade into a very expensive regret when reliability matters most for working owners. Now we get to the truck that brings this entire disaster into focus. The 2025 to 2026 Ram 1500. This is not some weird low-volume experiment. This is not a strange electric startup vehicle with a few early bugs. This is a major full-size pickup from a brand with loyal buyers, huge sales history, and trucks that can easily push past $70,000 when loaded up. And yet, the biggest problem being reported is brutally simple. The truck will not start. Not after 10 years. Not after 150,000 miles. Not after being beaten to death on a job site. Owners are reporting dead batteries on brand new Ram 1500s with barely any miles on them. Some under 1,000 miles. Some still feeling fresh enough that the owner is probably still learning where every button is. That is not normal. That is terrifying. The core issue appears to be electrical. Owners describe trucks dying overnight, batteries draining while the vehicle is parked, and dealers replacing batteries only for the same problem to come right back. That is when the situation gets even more frustrating, because in some cases, the diagnosis comes back as no fault found. Think about how maddening that is. You wake up to a dead truck, you get it towed, you lose time. The dealer checks it. Then they tell you they cannot find the problem. You take it home. And then it happens again. The suspected villain is parasitic drain. That means electronic modules inside the truck may not be going to sleep when the truck is turned off. So while the owner is sleeping, the truck is quietly draining its own battery in the driveway. By morning, the voltage drops too low, and the expensive new pickup becomes a very large paperweight. Ram issued a technical service bulletin to re-flash body control modules, and for some owners, that helped. But others kept reporting failures, repeated towing, long shop stays, and no clear timeline for a real fix. Then add Uconnect screens freezing, random reboots, instrument panel failures, and even reports of ECU problems at extremely low mileage. A truck can have wind noise. A truck can have cheap plastic. A truck can have annoying software. But a truck that will not start is different. That is the most basic promise a vehicle makes. The Ram 1500 looks strong in the driveway. It looks expensive. It looks like success. But none of that matters when the owner presses the start button and nothing happens at all. This is the nightmare buyers fear most. Not a truck failing after years of use, but a brand new truck dying before it has even earned its first oil change. So here is where all of this comes together. These 11 trucks prove something buyers cannot afford to ignore anymore. New does not mean reliable. Expensive does not mean well built. A warranty does not mean peace of mind. And a giant monthly payment does not protect you from sitting in your driveway with a truck that refuses to start. The Ford Ranger shows how a truck can disappoint slowly, with rattles, glitches, weak real-world value, and problems that are never quite big enough to fix easily. The Jeep Gladiator proves that adventure branding does not matter when electrical gremlins, wind noise, and high costs turn the dream into frustration. The Hyundai Santa Cruz shows how a vehicle can be sold like a truck while failing to deliver the confidence truck buyers expect. Then the electric trucks exposed a different problem. The Hummer EV and F-150 Lightning promise the future, but owners are discovering that software, charging, leaking panels, range loss, and dealer confusion can make the future feel unfinished. GM's Sierra and Silverado brought the warning back to old-school truck buyers with engine failures, bearing concerns, electrical faults, and repairs too serious for vehicles this new. The Toyota Tundra shocked everyone because the badge used to mean safety, but even Toyota cannot escape bad engineering choices. Rivian showed what happens when a startup sells a premium lifestyle before the basics are proven. The F-150 Hybrid showed how added technology can turn a smart upgrade into a complicated headache. And the Ram 1500 showed the simplest failure of all: a brand new truck that will not wake up in the morning. That is the real lesson. Do not buy the badge. Do not buy the commercial. Do not buy the payment number the dealer puts in front of you. Buy the data. Buy the history. Buy the truth, hiding behind the showroom lights. Before you sign anything, download my free ebook, Avoid These 17 Cars, in 2026. The dealership wants you focused on how good the truck looks today. Your job is to know what happens after the keys are yours.